What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dreaded Don here, back again delivering you guys my new games for the month of February 2026. Man, we got some good games coming out this month. We got a really big one that I was hoping to really get my hands on. I'm gonna play it, but man, I've been stuck on WoW. I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing a ton of WoW. TBC comes out as I'm making this video on Thursday. Today is Monday, so yeah, I'm probably gonna be over there. But nonetheless, I'm probably gonna try to hop on the big title that's coming out this month. Anyways, my friends, let's get on into it. First one on the list, man, is Dragon Quest VII Reimagined from Square Enix. It's a turn-based RPG, so if you're familiar with Final Fantasy, then you might have heard of, Dragon Quest. If you heard of Dragon Quest, you probably heard of Final Fantasy. Some people like to separate the games. I enjoy them both. I think they're both good. Anyways, Dragon Quest VII kind of takes place in the island of Estar, where you pick up as a fisherman's son, who's kind of spent his entire life on this island. You know, if you're from a small place and, spend entire time or existence in one place, you start to question, like, man, what else is there to offer? What else does the world have? What can I go explore? What can I go see? And you start to ask this question with your childhood friends, and in asking that question with your childhood friends, you guys go out and explore the rest of the island and stumble upon this Shrine of Mysteries. And in doing so, this Shrine of Mystery kind of sends you guys back through time. And when it sends you guys back through time, you see the other islands, see other places of the world, and start to wonder, why haven't we learned about any of these other places of the world in our era? Why have we only been stuck on the island of Estar? And that's where the game really picks up and takes place, is you going out and solving this mystery of what evil forces really taken away all this land and this knowledge from our current era. What darkness that has just shrouded us from all this, from us understanding this. And that's kind of where my interest is picking up. That's where I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to go play some Dragon Quest VII. I didn't start on Dragon Quest VII. I was really a Dragon Quest VIII kid. The Journey of the Cursed King. I want a remaster. Let's get a reimagine of that. I want that. But anyways, the fact that we're getting a remaster of Dragon Quest VII and the story that they were unveiling for us, I'm interested. I want to see what it has to show. Not only that, but the graphics look absolutely amazing. When to go from the original Dragon Quest VII to what they're doing now, beautiful, chef's kiss. Gotta give it its goes, you know what I mean? And then on top of that, I've always just enjoyed the enemy encounters that we get in Dragon Quest. I think they have such an interesting variety of enemies for us to encounter. I mean, maybe it's just Square Enix and their enemy rise. I think they do such a good type. Anyways, man, if you're interested in the Dragon Quest series and interested in picking up the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, it drops on February the 5th. And following that up, we got My Hero Academia All Justice coming from Bandai Namco. It's a 3v3 arena brawler where you get to play majority of the characters in most of the maps that they battled on, as well as several different game modes, and I think they said about 2 different playstyles. Now, in terms of the roster and the characters that they're offering us to be able to play, it seems like they're really just offering us a handful, not just a handful, everyone. They're offering us everyone to play. We got Mirio, we got Aizawa, my friends, we got Lady Nagant, we got the kids from the other high school, you know what I mean? We got Gang Orca, we got Sir Night Eye, we got Gran Torino, bro. We got some of the Nomus in here, we got Overhaul, we got everybody, and it seems that Hey, I am 100% for a full My Hero Academia fighter brawler roster. I need to. Because some of the complexity of the teams you're gonna be able to assemble. Me personally, I'm gonna want my full speedster team with maybe like Overhaul on the team. I like Overhaul, but I'm gonna have to have Tenya on the squad for sure. I love a good Baku just because I love the way his quirks work. But Gang Orca's my boy, and then Present Mike is kind of just EA. Present Mike is just that guy. But nonetheless, if we can get Bloodblad in there, my friend, my God. And then like I'm saying, if the combination of the combos that they're going to be offering, they have risings, they have your plus ultra skills, and then they have your guard breaks. The complexity of the combat that they were showing when you're in manual mode, that's one of the playstyles that they're offering. So they're going to have manual mode, and then they're going to have normal mode. And normal mode is where you're just going to be able to push essentially just one button. It's going to auto swap your characters from you. Have auto ultra ability combos, which I'm honestly not a fan of it. I would prefer that they take something like this out. But I get it. You want to introduce everybody into a fighting game. But on the other side of things, they have a manual mode where you're going to be able to manually swap your characters, manually do your plus ultras, your risings, your guard breaks, your dash counters. That you're going to be able to do it all, and with the teams that you're going to be able to assemble, I can only imagine the juggle combos people are going to have when this game drops, the roster that they're going to have. Oh, yes, chef's kiss all around, baby. Man, with such like a large roster and such a complex combat system, it's hard not to be a little bit excited. You know what I mean? But anyways, another one of the modes that they're offering us is a team up mission mode, where you'll be able to pick one of the students from 1A, you know, Deku, Todoroki, Baku, use one of their traversal movements, and then explore the city and kind of live that slice of a life moment where you're that hero. You're just a hero stopping crime. You're, you know, picking up clues. You're talking to the other students. You're kind of just enjoying yourself or enjoying what it's like to be one of the students in the My Hero universe. I would like them to implement, you know, just a little bit more, give us some character customization, let us create a hero, you know, let us have some multiplayer. You guys got Shinobi Striker Bandai, you know, I know you guys can do it. I know you can do it. I see it in the works. Anyways, my point being, that's just one of the modes, is the team up mission mode. Florida City is one of the students. So 1A. On top of that, they have another mode where it's the archive battle mode, where you can essentially just relive one of the battles from the manga or the anime. For instance, they showed us the high-end Nomu versus Hawks and Endeavor, or Lady Nagant versus Deku. I would like, you know, have a couple more, you know, like they'd like to show us a little more. I like to see Gran Torino versus Deku for the first time when they first were all walking in. I thought that was so interesting. You know, just the fact that they have these archive battle modes where we're able to relive out some of these battles and enjoy ourselves in the final war. If you watching the anime or manga, it's pretty damn cool. You know, I like when animes or anime games allow us to relive those moments. For instance, with, you know, Naruto Storm, when we have that first battle with Naruto and Sasuke at the Hokage's waterfall. And, you know, you line up for the first time, and whether you pick Sasuke or whether you pick Naruto, you know the battle's not the end. Nonetheless, if you're interested in My Hero All Justice, it is releasing on February the 6th. Now, if you need a little more intensity for the month of February, you need a little more bloodshed for your level, we got Nioh 3 coming from Team Ninja. It's a Souls-like action-adventure RPG where you'll be picking up the mantle as a protagonist who's traversing through time to save Japan from being ruled by yokai. And the way you're going to be doing this is you're trying to stop a calamity called the Crucible that's occurring through several different periods in time. The Edo period, the Warring States period, the Heian period, and the Bakumatsu period. Now, what's causing these calamities is kind of like a one-to-one for the protagonist and their siblings, but that's part of the mystery, right? Following that, they're going to give us two different combat styles for us to kind of juggle between, with it being samurai and ninja, where the samurai being kind of more of the headstrong, go straight at your enemy and just take them down, with art proficiency giving us a more enhanced strong attack, as well as us having the deflect, where you just say, get up off me, don't you touch me. And then you got the ki pulse, which, you know, is kind of iconic to keeping your ki up and your ki consumption. And then they're also going to have the different stance swapping based on the different types of weapons that you're going to have, which is also going to play into your different type of combat style, because based on the combat style you're in, you're going to have different types of weapons. As I said, with the samurai, more headstrong, so you're going to have stuff like the swords, the dual swords, spear, axes, odachi, switchblades is going to be up your samurai aisle. And then now if we're going into the ninja is much more of a stealthy approach towards things, right? You're going to have stuff like the mist, you're going to have ninjutsu, you know, a lot of like your fire blossoms, you know, your elemental attacks. Then you're going to have your ki evade, so instead of deflecting, you're more focused towards a dodge style mechanic. And then they also have a thing called a footstool jump, which is going to allow you to launch up into the air and then do aerial attacks that land upon your opponent. So they're going to be a lot much more flexible and acrobatic in terms of the ninja style, along with the weapons that are going to follow it is kind of stuff like the ninja sword, dual ninja swords, Kusarigama, tonfas, you know, split staff, you know, the talons is a new weapon that they're having, which is along just like a fist-based weapon that they plan on having you fight with. I'm just excited for the entire combat style in general. Like, it really seems like they're gonna go fully in depth with this, and if it gives us anything that they had in Nioh 2 with the Oni style that we had, but they're fleshing it out even more, I'm excited 100% to see this. Now, this does release on February the 6th, my friends, you know, and as I said, I'm getting a little bit of TBC, but just talking about it has me excited. I'm ready. We also got Avowed releasing for PS5 on February the 17th. Avowed is a game from Obsidian Studios, an action and adventure where you are exploring the living land as the envoy to the king. There seems to be this kind of corruption or this plague that's been infesting the land, and no one seems to understand why it's happening. And so you've been sent out to expand and explore upon that with your companions, and you have about 4 of them that you could explore the lands with. If you didn't get a chance to play Avowed when it came out on Xbox Game Pass, then I feel like this is kind of a great time to pick it up on the PS5. For me, PS5 is my primary console, so the fact that it's coming over here and I get to enjoy it over here, lovely. And I also want to see how it's going to play in terms with the haptic feedback on the controller, right? Because the combat's great. No one can deny the combat that Avowed has. It's just the story and the companions didn't really feel as fleshed out as they could have been. but maybe they had some things to work on. Maybe they've added some elements to it. They did have a roadmap leading all the way into 2026. So hopefully that they after having had that roadmap fleshed out for a good bit and adding it to the PS5, we're gonna have some new additions for that. So if you're interested in picking up Avowed, or you're just looking for a new action adventure game to play, similar to like Tainted Grail or Skyrim, Avowed comes out on February 17th. Next up on the list is Howl, coming from 11-Bit Studio. It's a Souls-like deck building game that honestly, when I first saw it, it struck me as something that played a lot like Slay the Spire, maybe Monster Train, just in terms of the way that you're going to be progressing down a different path, building a variety of decks that synergize with each other to get stronger and stronger as your journey progresses. And that alone really just got me interested. But as I started looking into it a little bit more, I saw that, okay, it has some Nordic, maybe Celtic mythology behind it. And it strikes me a little bit more like something like Hellblade Senua's Saga, just in terms of the story, because you're going to be a mother that's diving into the spirit world with cards and different types of powerful totems to essentially just banish the woeful spirits from the world and bring your son back from the spirit world. And I thought that was, hey, that's pretty savvy. I'm for it, and I like that story in and alone. I'm a huge fan of Celtic mythology. Not only that, it comes from 11-Bit Studios, the studios that I love for the altars. So I already expect them to have some pretty in-depth combat along with just the graphic, artistic style that they're presenting. I'm like, man, it's savvy. It looks good. It looks enjoyable. It looks like something I could spend a good amount of maybe like 10, 20 hours on and just be like, man, that was an enjoyable experience. So if you're interested in, maybe diving into the spirit world of Nordic or Celtic mythology, Howl comes out on February the 19th. Another one dropping on February the 19th is Styx, Blade of Greed, coming straight from Cyanide Studios. This is kind of like a stealth action adventure title where you're picking up the controller playing as Styx. He's a greedy little goblin who has ultimately just mastered the art of stealth. This man, he can do anything. He can attack from above, he can soar from the skies, he can attack from below, he can slow down the time, he can control your mind, he can do everything. This man has it all, and I'm interested to see how he has his power. And from what it seems he's getting it from quartz, which is the primary objective and the goal that he's out after. It's the most precious and the most dangerous resources in the world right now. And you're going to be going through 3 different biomes to get it. You're going to be going through the biome of the humans, which is called the Wall. You'll be going through this swamp, fungal, kind of like forest area, which the elves own, and then like this hellish, rugged fire hellscape that the orcs own. I'm interested to see how they have you play out each of these stealth scenarios with different puzzles and different tools that you have available to Styx, the glider, the grappling hook, the mechanics of, summoning like different people. I saw there's in the trailer, there's one where he throws this bomb onto a guardsman's helmet and it summons this guy, and then he jumps on the guardsman and takes him down that way. And then I also saw one where you kind of sidestep on the guardsman and it says that you can remove their armor. I'm interested to see how some of these mechanics play out, because it kind of throws me back into reminiscent days of when they had Dishonored and Thief coming out for the PS3 and PS4, man. And I used to love Dishonored. Too good and too long has it been since I played that one, man. If you've been looking for a stealth game, we got a pretty fun one coming out with Styx, Blade of Greed, man, and that's gonna be dropping on February the 19th, my friends.
I love it.
Now, following that up, we got Tides of Tomorrow coming from THQ Nordic. It's going to be a choose-your-own story-based game, kind of something similar to like Dispatch if you recently are playing one, or even Detroit Become Human. That's a good one. Now, the story of this one though is it takes place in the wake of the Great Flood, where I guess classification is just killing everything. Nothing's able to grow, nothing's able to survive, nothing's able to live. And it's your goal, you're trying to go out into the world and find some type of solution or some type of cure, and you're doing so by gathering resources and exploring to other different platforms and communicating with the survivors on those platforms to see what's going on and see if you can cobble together the clues to come to some actual solid solution, right? Now, the little twist that they plan on adding is that you're going to be able to follow along the same path as your friends or your favorite streamers or anybody like that. And be like, okay, what'd you do? What did you help save that guy? Did you end up finding the cure? Did you go to this island? Did you gather those resources? And I think that's really cool, the way that they're tying kind of in a social element into the game. But I really want to see how that plays out. I've talked about this before. It seems like if they play it out really well, it seems cool. But does your friend's story, if you follow their path, will it affect your own path if you come back to your world? I wanted to see if they have like a time hopping mechanic in there, right? As far as I'm seeing, a little bit what I've been looking at, doesn't seem like they're going to be doing any of that. It just seems like you're going to be able to explore your friend's story as well. and then go along and have your story, which is nonetheless still pretty cool. But I think the world and the world setting, and then the different types of characters, and maybe the resources and the experience of, you know, traveling to different islands is going to be cool in and of itself. So I really want to see how they flesh that out outside of the social elements. If you're kind of interested in checking that out and seeing how they kind of tie that all together, the game does drop on February the 24th. And shortly after that, we're going to be getting Towerborne, man. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up from Stoic Games. They're going into its full release, man. I'm pretty cool to see this. I'm pretty excited to see this. The main reason why they want to do this is because they are planning to listen more to their community. And in doing so, they're changing the game from being a live service experience into a premium one-stop purchase experience. And so they're going to be removing a lot of the microtransactions that the game had. They're getting rid of the Belfry bucks and a lot of the monthly experience that the game presented itself with. And then instead, they're just going to give you the standard edition of the game, the Founders edition of the game, or the Deluxe edition of the game. And all of those are just going to include a lot of the extra stuff that the monthly experience included all as a package. Their main reason for doing this is, like as I said before, they really just want to listen to their community, and instead of focusing on the monetization of the game, they want to focus more towards giving everybody a story-driven experience and giving more reliable co-op content, which is damn cool. Because when I played Towerborne, I just enjoyed playing it as a co-op beat 'em up, and I wanted to get my homies on it, I got my girl on it, and I definitely want to go back and enjoy it because it has so much in-depthness to it. Like, if you enjoy just beat 'em ups in the past and you always wanted to maybe create your own character and try different types of combinations with different types of weapons, or maybe you wanted to have see the progression of, you know, armor on your character as you progress through the world, or maybe you just wanted to max out a different type of skill tree or see the different types of combat combos you can get into. This game has that. It has all of that, and if they're gonna focus more in depth on all of that, it's hard to ask for any more from them. They're doing exactly what their community wants for them. Now, a few of the down points is that it's not going to be online matchmaking anymore. It's just going to be straight up co-op invitations. If your buddy has it, you can invite them to the game. If they got it, they can invite you to the game. That's just strictly that base. On top of that, another restriction is that it's not going to be cross-platform, which I think is going to hurt them just a little bit. If your buddy has Xbox, you got PlayStation, you're not going to be able to play together. And if you had accounts that were cross-linked, they did say that that's not going to work anymore. A little bit of a bummer, but nonetheless, they are trying to focus more on just like kind of like a couch co-op experience, or maybe just like a direct connection co-op experience, as well as giving the players more of a direct story-based content and focusing on that aspect rather than spreading too thin with microtransactions and online matchmaking. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. If Towerborne sounds like something that's going to be interested in you, it does go into its full release on February the 26th, my friends. All right, and finishing off the month of February, we got Resident Evil Requiem coming from Capcom Games. It's gonna be an action horror game, a new title in the series, man. I don't know what to say. If you enjoy Resident Evil, the story is phenomenal. The games and they terrify the shit out of me. But with this new one that they're planning on doing, they have you playing as Grace and Leon, and you're gonna be taking on both roles. So that with Grace, they try to have the tension of the horror. It's a little bit more like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7, they say. And then when you take on the role as Leon, it's a little bit more combat-esque, like Resident Evil 4, and you don't have to worry about the tension. And they said that's the main element that they really focus the game around, so that you have this cascade of emotion between high-intensity combat and then, you know, very intense, you know, horror moments when you're going through them. I thought that was interesting, made me kind of interested in the game, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put my hands on it, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go through it. But they do have an interesting story nonetheless. They still have Leon coming back. He is still a DSI agent investigating a lot of the bioterrorisms. And then Grace is kind of going back to the same place that her mother was at in the previous stories. So again, that's why they call it the Requiem. They said they're kind of tying back into the story that they had set previously and kind of getting some closure on all of that. Hey, if you're a Resident Evil fan, probably phenomenal for you. You're probably like, chef's kiss to that, right? Nonetheless, man, if you are interested in playing Resident Evil Requiem, it is coming out on February the 27th. That's going to be all the games I have for you guys for the month of February, man. I'm really interested in playing Nioh. You know, might play a little bit of My Hero, just because, you know, My Hero is kind of a good time. Gonna try to get my hands on Nioh. Doubt I'm gonna be able to, because I'm gonna be playing so much TBC, man. Like, I already know, like my Warlock, I'm 60. I'm there. I gotta do it. I gotta hit the raids. You know what I mean? If you have any games that you're playing this month that you're interested, let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And as always, my friends, so we can continue to share some more info. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the horizon. Deuces.